I need to hear our song. Like, I don't know even what people hear. Welcome to Homemaker Chic Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are out there. Frank, we love you. Eric, Tom. This is Homemaker Chic Podcast. I am Angela Reed of RegionFarmGirl.com. My co-host is Shaye Elliott, and my very best girlfriend, my very best girlfriend of the ElliottHomestead.com. 2,000 miles away. It's been a really long time since we've seen each other, so feel lots of sorry for us. We are looking at each other on Zoom. If you're on Patreon, we are looking at you on Zoom/Patreon right now. And what we're doing is we're here with red lips, both of us today. No denim jumpers. We are rescuing the art of homemaking from the daily grind. And this is the season where so many homemakers want to go the extra mile. We can't help ourselves. We want to. Some of us are a little burned out by going the extra mile year after year at this time of year. And so our season theme this season, season 18, is Do It for the People. And that's what we're talking about. We're looking at everything from our wardrobes to making food. And we're just going to talk about serving the people and staying sane and not a martyr in the meantime, because it's not about just bleeding out on this altar of being a homemaker. It's about the condition of our heart and doing it with joy, and the reality that sometimes it really does suck. And we have to just we have to embrace the suck, as Shaye would say. So she's cringing.
That was a heck of an intro.
Did I say that?
No, I was just like, well done. Yes,
well
you do
done.
have to embrace the suck.
The end. The end. Sometimes the suck is dried pine needles in a tree that needs watering all the time, and
yep.
grocery runs.
I texted Angela this morning and I said, what do you want to talk about? And I was feeling kind of together and ambitious at this point. And Angela's like, how about surviving?
I said, how about entertainment? Like, not entertaining. Like, how about... Oh, yeah, no, that was my joke. You're right. I did. I was like, let's talk just about surviving.
Yes, let's talk about surviving.
Because I'm always I'm 2 hours
later,
ahead of you. So I always get sideswiped 2 hours before you do.
Right.
My
2 hours later, I was like, yes,
let's
talk about that. Let's talk about that. Because it's one of those days. In fact, before we came in here to record, I looked around at Stuart and I said, I have been working all day. I have used up all of my energy, and every single thing in this house needs to be done. Like, there wasn't a place for my eye to go and be like, okay, but that's okay. It's all right. Look, the kitchen's clean. You're going to be fine.
It's so funny you say that, because that's what I say to Joel. I say, there's nowhere for my eye to land and go, good job. Good job. Yep. If you know what, it's like follow the bouncing ball, like you're watching Thomas the Tank Engine. Thomas the Tank Engine, Mama's crashing. The little ball on the words. And if my eye goes like boing, boing, boing around the house. And if I ever find a pocket that looks beautiful, that's why silly things like a lovely new tea towel or a hand towel in the bathroom or a bouquet of flowers or a lit candle, because your eye can just land there and go, take a hot minute.
At least there's that.
At least there's that.
There's that.
But it is a little unnerving when you're following the bouncing ball and there's no peace. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of no peace.
Oh, what sort of terrible segue? This is our
season
sponsor.
18 of Homemaker Chic is sponsored by World Watch News. We pine for world peace. We do. But as we're understanding the events of the world, we invite you to visit worldwatch.news. This is news for students that's produced by Christian journalists. So you can go in, see the headlines. Every weekday they produce a 10 to 13 minute overview of what's going on in the world. They cover a huge range of relevant worldview topics and school subjects. And if you use the code Homemaker Chic, go to worldwatch.news, you can get an entire month for free. That's what, 5, 10, 20 free episodes
Yeah.
that you can watch. So this is an opportunity for those of us who have children, or frankly, those of us who need to temper what's going on in the world so it can come through a way of like proper news literacy, right? And not just dumpster fire that's all over the news these days. Biblical discernment. They make it fun. They do a really good job of presenting the world topics, and you get to tour the world in 10 minutes every weekday.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And I know a lot of people are still like really married to their news source. A lot of people, they've been getting their news from a certain place. They love it. But I know that you have that thought, like, is there another idea?
Yeah.
Is there another vantage point I could look at this from? And so I invite you to do that for a month. Just bring in another, like the more ideas, the better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So bring in another vantage point for a month and just see what you think.
Yep.
Yeah.
They do a really good little, sometimes teachers use this in their classroom. Of course, parents present this to their children. Like I said, some people just use it for themselves, even if they don't have children. But on their website, they talk about kind of what they see in people who bring in news from this source. And I think it's really good. A sparked wonder at how God made the world, increased compassion and curiosity of the world, logical conversations with adults and students about world happenings, boosted confidence in and awareness of current events, and thoughtful prayers for the people behind the headlines. Imagine that.
Yeah.
You're not just complaining, you're actually doing the work of praying for the people that you see. It's a great, great opportunity. So, worldwatch.news, code homemaker chic for an entire month for free.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm going to give a plug. Okay. Oh, here comes my 18-year-old. Hold on. Golly, I need a red light outside my... Yes? They don't talk to you that much when they're that age. So when you hear, "Hey, mom," you're like, your heart quickens. I went to see Napoleon, and I'm just going to tell all of you on the fence, if you've been wanting to see it, go see it. Do not listen to the reviews. I'm really sad that it's not, excuse me. I'm really sad that it's not getting a lot of play. Like, it's not really gaining any steam. And that's too bad. It's Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon. Amazing. It's a, what's his name film? Master and Commander, A Good Year. What's his name?
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott film. Amazing. The soundtrack is out of this world. A few times, like, I had to like scoop my jaw up the way the music was timed with what you were watching. It was beautiful. And if you're a Francophile or at all a history nerd, I would go see it. Napoleon was a little weird, and
wasn't
Joaquin Phoenix
from
nails
Corsica,
it.
Wasn't he?
He was from
Corsica.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Alba, like the island he was exiled to. Yeah.
Is that right? That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another plug. I just listened, and I should remember where Napoleon is from, because there's a great podcast called The Rest is History. I've talked about it on this show before.
Oh my gosh, Shaye, I love it. You got me hooked on them. I listened to the fashion one. I nerded out.
The best
on that
it's
podcast
the best podcast.
The last time. See, we're going to talk about entertainment today, because it is like,
okay,
I'm dark
serious.
at 2:00. You need some entertainment.
I appreciate all of you who listen to Homemaker Chic, but being on this side of the microphone and producing this type of a podcast, when I plug in, I can't listen to anything like this, because to me, it's work. Okay. So I have to go into la la land to actually put my mind at rest. And it makes me sad. Like, I can't go to YouTube to relax. I can't go to Instagram to relax. I can't listen to like homemaking.
I don't listen to anything homemaking or
to relax.
No,
it's
true.
all work to me.
Yep.
And I know all these people, and it's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go far, far away. And the Rest is History podcast is my little corner of the world where I go and I'm listening to the JFK assassination, the 4-part JFK assassination. They did one on Martin Luther King. I mean, these guys kill it.
So wait, you that was a hard, like, did they do Napoleon?
They did Napoleon.
Okay.
They did Napoleon.
Okay.
And I'm like, Napoleon's Italian? Like it's confusing
Yeah.
how he was like born in Corsica and then he schools up in France, but he's Corsican, so like they don't accept him. And it's like this weird. Did they go into that in the movie at all?
No,
Okay.
no, they didn't.
He has a really interesting childhood education history that they go into in Napoleon's podcast.
Okay. No, they kind of start right at his like maybe not early military career, but like right before it kind of crescendos.
Okay.
And
Okay.
truth be told, I got Mexican carry out and snuck it into the theater.
Oh, how do you do that?
Oh, I got skills, man. Like we brought a full
Are
meal.
you a double D or is that an enchilada?
Is that an enchilada or are you just happy to see me? I just Shay's gone. She's doubled over. No, we snuck Mexican in like a full meal.
No.
And so we missed like the first 10 seconds. So we're like running in like
Oh my gosh.
No, it sort of starts like right when he's about to. It's incredible. I think one of the things I really, really enjoyed the movie, and a lot of people, I'd like to talk to other people that have seen it because like I said, I'm sad that it's not getting the traction. Some of his Ridley Scott's movies don't do that. I don't know, like Robin Hood, Ridley Scott's Robin Hood is amazing. It's a great movie with Russell Crowe, like 10 years ago or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. But oh shoot, what was I saying?
I don't think he's probably a particularly nice guy in person, but man, Russell Crowe's a great actor. I could watch him all day.
Yeah, could he just like come back? Could he just go get buff and everything? He's just gone down the tank health-wise. He looks very unhealthy. Let me just say.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Shoot,
sad.
I was gonna say something about Napoleon. Oh,
okay.
History nerd. There are some scenes where you are just they've never been done in movies before. The Battle of Austerlitz has never been done like that before. It's incredible when he's in Egypt and discovering mummies and things like that. Like you don't often get to see Egypt and the pyramids like for real. And I'm not talking like some 1950s 10 Commandments movie. I mean like really well done. You just feel like you're there and it made me giddy. There were a few scenes where I just thought, oh, can we have more of these kind of movies, more of these kind of scenes in movies where he blows the dust off a mummy's face at one point. And you're like, this is so awesome. It's really good. It's really good.
Do you know when I'm left on my own? Okay, imagine Shaye's family is far, far away, but she has a laptop.
Once a year.
Okay.
Okay.
I will watch one of two things. I will watch one of four things. I will watch A Good Year.
A Good Year.
Scott
yeah.
and Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
I will watch You've Got Mail.
True.
I will watch any show, no matter how poor it's done, on sharks. Or, and this is my favorite, I will watch any show on Egypt that has ever been made, ever.
Oh, Curse of the Mummy,
Devour,
whatever history,
no, I don't
trashy,
mean like fiction, like any
anything.
National Geographic,
Yes,
Untombing the Pyramids Secrets. I am there for it. Like Stuart has said, if you weren't who you are, you would have been an Egyptologist.
I would be out like dusting crap off of, yeah, for sure.
Be up dusting crap.
Yep, absolutely.
I love it.
Do you want a recommendation for the winter in your earbuds?
Yes, I do.
A book recommendation?
Yes, I do. No, I can't take a book recommendation. Do you know why?
Oh, no.
Because I've been reading. I have been really proud. And I already got a book recommendation. And I swore I would do it. And it is The Count of Monte Cristo. And it is 1,100 pages long. I will be reading it until I am 40.
That's such an excellent story. I'm so proud of you, Shaye.
I know. And Jennifer Scott's reading it with me. She was really sweet. She sent me this bookmark. Hi, Jennifer. Sent me this bookmark of pressed flowers that she had made. And I said, I tucked it right into The Count of Monte Cristo. I'm on page 50, by the way. And she said, I've always wanted to read that. And I was like, let's go, girl. It won't take you long to catch up. The
You only
first
read
50
one book at a
pages,
time?
I am only reading one book at a time. I am being so disciplined. And you know what? I'm knocking them down like flies. I've turned myself into a reader.
Okay. Well,
And
that's
if you
been
are
like
part
over
of
the
this
last year
podcast,
and a
you know, like,
half. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I turned myself into somebody who lift weights.
Yeah.
Like, I'm strong now and I can lift really heavy things. And that happened during the course of this podcast. And also in the course of this podcast, I have turned myself into a reader. And I'm really proud of that. So I'm going to read The Count of Monte Cristo. And then you know what's after that? Dante's Inferno.
Really?
Stu teaches Dante.
I
And
have like a
Georgia just read
120-year-old copy of it, and it's falling apart, like legit falling apart. People have probably seen it like in my YouTube videos, just like precariously in between other old books.
Yeah.
I grabbed it the other day. I'm like, this thing is moth-ridden and crumbling. I said to the girls, I'm like, should I get rid of this piece of junk? They're like, no. Like, you can barely even see that it's Dante anymore.
Yeah. Well, Georgia's reading it this year for one of her classes. So over breakfast, her and Stuart will have these incredible talks on Dante and the levels of hell and this and that. And I feel so left out. I feel so left out. I never read Dante, but like, this is still an ongoing conversation. And sorry, I'm derailing. We'll go back to your recommendation in a second, but
it's okay, because I wanted to talk about
really
entertainment. I think it's great. Yeah.
About classical literature. It's like when Stuart explained this to me, I wasn't classically educated. And
most of
he
us weren't,
explained it to me
Shaye,
when we were,
we
I
might
know,
have been
when we were
attracted
going
to
over,
classical things, but most of us weren't classically educated.
right, right. The idea is that you are joining into the conversation that's been going on for as long as people have been people. Who are we? Where are we from? What's the point? And people have wrestled with these topics. Dante wrestled with these topics. You know, there's great literature that's written. And when you read it, you get to participate in that conversation with people across centuries. And I love that idea. Like, people were reading Dante hundreds of years ago. And Dante is it's such a cool story because he was from Florence. He loved Florence. He was exiled from Florence for his work. And just maybe it was last year, they lifted his ban as like some sort of grand symbolic gesture. Now 600 years later or whatever it was.
Gee, thanks.
Isn't that crazy?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, gee, thanks. He died in exile. Anyway, so I've got The Count of Monte Cristo. I've got Dante, and then I will read whatever you recommend.
Oh, this isn't like a trashy beach read, which is what I call like paperbacks that women read on the beach in the summer. But it's just like modern fiction, I guess let's call it. So there's this guy. I discovered him, I don't know, 20 years ago or whatever. His name's Wilbur Smith. I think I've read almost all of his books. I suppose they're like more of a man's book, the way they're written.
Yes.
You know, I mean, written by a man, obviously. They're not romance novels by any sense of the meanings or anything fluffy like that. But what sort of started me on this journey to finding him was we had, when I was in high school, we had really good friends that are Assyrians. That were Assyrians. So Assyrians are Christian Iraqis, and there's like not very many of them left in Iraq these days. And I remember, I'll never forget, like their home, it was decorated like so cool, so Middle Eastern. And they had this really incredible bronze, like bas relief of the husband's sister. And she had been killed by Saddam Hussein. And they had left Iraq to come to America. Like if he stepped foot in Iraq again, he would have been killed. Like it was a big deal. And so they had this bas relief of her, and she was like in military, whatever uniform. And they lent me this book called The Assyrian. Amazing. And so it's really kind of like diving into, you know, the pagan side of the culture, like in the book of Daniel, you know, like that part of the Bible. This book is incredible. It's like this thick. Nicholas Guild, I think it's out of print. You probably can find it. It's called The Assyrian. It's excellent. It's an epic. It's an epic story.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah. So it's called The Assyrian, and it really gives you like the backstory. As a Christian, you understand like what Jonah was, why Jonah didn't want to go.
He was like, I'm not going
He's
to
like,
Nineveh,
oh,
man.
no. These people are gross. They are mean and nasty, and they are violent. They are, ugh. Yeah. And so the Assyrian is, Nebuchadnezzar, and what's the other guy's name in the Bible? King Ash. There's another ASH. You'd know it if I said it. And then they borrowed me this book called, I'm not going to remember.
They borrowed me this book.
Yeah. How Midwestern of me.
That's not a thing.
Something Nineveh. And so it's more of an archaeological book, and it's about the discovery of Nineveh. I think it was a British archaeologist, and he was on the train between the Tigris and the Euphrates or whatever, and kept seeing like these mounds, and he actually discovered the ancient city of Nineveh. So I got like turned on. I love history. That was my favorite part of growing up. I went to homeschool, private school, and public school. And when I was homeschooled, I like really dove into like Mesopotamia and all the beginnings of like the Fertile Crescent and all that. And I just nerded out, loved Egypt, love all that. So I got you there.
Oh yeah.
But so they kind of turned me on to these epic stories of ancient times. And that's sort of how I discovered Wilbur Smith, because I was at the library when we first got married, and I was trying to find more of the like. So Wilbur Smith wrote this fabulous, sick book, just great, called River God. And it's written so real that you think it's real. I mean, like he opens up saying like this story was discovered in an alabaster vase in a tomb, and like I nerded out. It was right when the internet was like coming. I'm like, is this a real story? But they wrote River God, and then he wrote River God, and then he wrote like a modern part 2 where they go back and then dig up everything that he references in River God, called the Seventh Scroll. Check it out. Wilbur Smith, River God, the Seventh Scroll, like just so good. And then as a believer, again, with like the Nineveh and the Assyrian and the Egypt, like you're making all these connections. They're talking about like the Hittites. I mean, I don't think even modern like secular culture acknowledged the Hittites for a long, long time, until like in the last 100 years when things were discovered. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, I'm a history nerd. I'm nerding out on everybody right now. Sorry.
Why don't you send me a box of those books and let me borrow them?
Yeah. Well, I just have little paperbacks. I've read them so many times, they're like falling apart. But yeah, okay.
Okay, geez.
So,
and I will send you one that I just finished that I think you will really like, called Paris in the Present Tense.
Ooh.
Again, you put it really well. Mark Halperin, he wrote A Winter's Tale, which is he's most known for. He's lesser known for this one.
Okay.
It is written by a man. It sort of feels like it's for a man. Incredible. I had to keep telling myself when I was reading it to slow down, because he's incredibly eloquent with his words, and you're meant to sort of devour them slowly. It'll be a scene where somebody's walking down the sidewalk and it's a paragraph on the color of the sky, and like you actually have to slow your modern mind down to read all of the words, because they're all there for a reason. But you would probably really enjoy it, because the entire thing is set in Paris, and it's this neighborhood and this and this and this, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I do
at all.
Oh, that sounds
and even
great.
Still, it's a book on just sacrificial love and hope. And it was really good. Really enjoyed it. So a few book recommendations for you all.
So what is the history podcast called again? I'm making notes.
The Rest is History.
The Rest is History. So I did
listen to the JFK ones.
Okay.
Have you listened to it?
No, I haven't. But do I need to like coordinate that with anything else, like with Rogan and what's his name? Who's the movie director that Rogan has on that's doing a ton of research about JFK?
No. Just listen to this.
Okay.
One of the things I didn't realize about JFK is that he was an incredibly sickly man.
Oh, he was so sick.
He had
Like his
scarlet
back was like
fever,
opened up and his Jackie was
collapsing, his
always
spine
doing
was
things for his. Oh, yeah.
collapsing.
He was sick.
He had all the venereal diseases,
Oh, yeah, girl.
just all of them. Just
So,
chronic BV.
boy.
Sorry, Marilyn, amongst others. Um, yeah, it was fascinating. And then, he was on this ship in World War II that was hit by a Japanese destroyer, splits the ship in half.
Yeah.
It goes down, and he literally drags a wounded man 4 hours of swimming in the open ocean to an island.
Yeah.
And he's dragging this man on an inner tube with his teeth and no spine, as it were. I mean, it's just a really incredible story.
Yeah.
Just
And I think a lot of people like they don't. Yes. No, I'm locked. You can wait. Sorry. Um, a lot of people don't even know that. Like it's called profile. He wrote a book, Profiles in Courage. He wrote a book about that experience, I think.
don't know.
Yeah. And like they just don't know. They don't know that he was sick. They don't know that his back was like just jacked up.
He was just sick.
Unintended.
Yeah,
He was just sickly. Yeah. And very manipulated
he
by
had
his
another.
dad. And yeah.
Yeah, he had another disease that I can't remember the name of, but it was like a name, like a person's name. But it gave him he couldn't ward off any infection.
Mm,
And anyway, it's fascinating. And I haven't even gotten to the assassination yet.
yeah.
Like, it's just so fun. So
Okay.
great
Well,
content for
all
sure.
that to say is when you told me about
Okay.
them a few months ago, I just had so much fun. I listened to the two fashion episodes.
Fashion in the London
And
in the
that was so
60s.
fun because, again, nerd, when Cruella DeVille, the Disney movie, came out a few years ago, I was so excited because they really took they paid an homage to like the whole London fashion scene. I loved what they did with that. And those guys are so knowledgeable about the flippin' London fashion scene, like right around the era of like the invention of the mini skirt and Twiggy and their insight into fashion. I was driving on an 8-hour trip and I was giddy. I was like elated just listening to them. I loved it. Yeah.
So fun. I've listened to, the Library of Alexandria.
That was great too. That was excellent.
That's such
the Library of Alexandria was an excellent episode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We should have them on.
We should. Okay, this is my.
Let's talk about the history of homemaking.
Right.
The rest is history podcast.
Hello. This is my platform on history. I think that when you read and you expose yourself to history, not just maybe your particular thing, like if you love the Civil War, but then if you expose yourself to Egyptology and even the history of fashion and Napoleon and whatever, when you watch like a spy movie or something and or a detective movie and they have that big wall of things up and they have all the push pins and they're connecting all the, you know what I mean, where they take all the push pins and the string and they try to connect everything. That's what starts to happen to you as you read more and take in more history, like reading and history. You start to be able to connect the dots. You hear something, whether it's an artistic technique that somebody just references in a book, in a very descriptive book, like what you were saying, or it's like a period of history, or it's a cut of a dress.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind expands and you can start connecting the dots, and the world just becomes so much more interesting. If you think the world has become boring and mundane and dull and beige, like read more and take in more history. It just
I remember telling Stu one time, who is, again, going back to classical education, that I notice people, not this, I'm painting with broad strokes, but people who have a classical education have the ability to sort of like suck back up. Imagine like there's a room filled with things, okay? And we're just in it and we can't see it all. Like Stuart has this ability to like come away and get a bird's eye perspective of things. Like you were saying, he can see where I'm just flapping around. He has the ability to like remove himself from the situation and understand that whole big map that you were talking about on the wall and see how it's all connected and see, oh yeah, and this is like this conversation that's been going on since the 400s. And you see some of that in church history where you see modern churches wrestling with things that people have wrestled with before and actually dealt with. And it blows my mind that, you know, there are creeds and confessions that are no longer used in Christian churches. And you think people thought about these, like people died for these things. Like, for example, was Christ the actual Son of God? Was he fully God? And was he fully man? Okay. Now we can just take that answer for granted because it's in our creeds and confessions that he is fully God and he is fully man. They had to come to that. Like there was lively debate and, you know, spirited thought and heretical statements and burnings at the stake. Like these were things that people wrestled with. And when we don't study them, we literally throw away thousands of years of work and thought and progress.
Yes.
It's a bizarre thing to do. And think, oh, if there was only an answer for this question.
And like, I might not say this correctly. Okay. So don't, but it's almost narcissistic in that people are so in the here and now. And like, this is our immediate culture. And this is what I immediately know. And I have these questions and not being willing to do the due diligence or to like,
it's all hard,
but like,
it's easy to be narcissistic and just think in the here and now. It's a lot harder to have like actually studied and thought about these things in any kind of a real
But I guess, and again, I'm not going to say this very delicately, but like, how dare we think we were the first generation or culture to have these thoughts? Like, they've been thought out and fleshed out and toiled over and lives given for so long. Like, let's look back.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Listen, any emotion that you have that you think, go read the Psalms.
Right.
I mean, what human emotion would you like?
Right.
It's, you know, are you sad? You think things are just really, really, really bad? Go read Job. Go read the Proverbs. I mean, or go read Ecclesiastes.
I was just going to say, feeling homemaker, feeling like you're burning the candle at both ends.
There is nothing new under the sun. And to me, that's really good news. Like we don't have to do the heavy lifting in so many ways.
Yeah.
That's great news. You know, we have the answers in so many things, and we can gain perspective and stand on the shoulders of people who have gone before us who have thought about these things.
Yeah, that's a great way. That's great.
Yeah. And when you study history, you get to appreciate those things.
Yeah.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, here's something that maybe you can help me with. We're talking about entertainment. I'm already anticipating winter. You guys know me, not my best performance winter. So I'm trying to think ahead to a few fun things that I would like to do, just to have things on the calendar. And you know how Spotify will give you your end of year roundup for what you listen to? Turns out I'm in the top 0.5% of Madeline Peru fans.
Wow.
Which makes sense. Shawn Mendes was number 2. So lest you think I'm highbrow, I am not. And number 3 was this really great Portland band who I love called Pink Martini.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen them in concert?
Have you ever
They're
seen them?
coming here in January.
Have you
That's
ever
why I'm saying
seen
they're
them?
coming to like my little town. No,
Shaye, you have to go.
I am going.
Did you get
That's
tickets?
what I'm saying. Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad.
This is what I'm
Shaye,
saying.
they're so good in concert. They're so good.
Yes, I'm really excited. It's at the end of January. So I'm like, I have all of January to look forward to going.
So if
Isn't that
you
going to be
are
fun?
unfamiliar with Pink Martini, they are this sort of fusion between orchestra and standards. So the vocalist is
Yeah.
really talented. I mean, she's, soprano. It's just like this perfect melange
How
of,
many members are there? Like 15?
yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I
there's
haven't seen them.
trombones and
Yeah,
percussionists
I bet I
and
haven't seen them I think I've seen them a couple times, but I think the most recent was probably like
okay,
12 years ago. Yeah.
okay,
They
okay.
are so good. I'm so excited for you. Yay.
I am really excited too, and
Yeah.
I'm going to take Georgia, which is really exciting. So
Yep.
it's just going to be fun. So I'm trying to put a few small, like thoughtful things on the calendar for entertainment.
Okay.
Just a little nugget to kind of keep you going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything for February yet, so if anyone has any suggestions, again, not my best performance
Mm-hmm.
typically in February. So that's what I got
Okay.
so far. What do you got?
Well,
Music. That's what I was getting at.
okay.
What music are you listening to? I need some new stuff.
You know me. I don't listen to I'm gonna Google something here and see. I don't listen to new music. I listen to the same crap a lot. Um,
Me too.
yeah, tell me this isn't sold out yet. I have a funny story about
What?
something I want to go to. I listen to the same stuff all the time. I mean, if right now I'm on Christmas, like I'm a Buddy the Elf. I'm all Christmas. I'm all Christmas. And the bugger is a year ago today, or maybe it was a couple days ago, we went and saw Harry Connick in concert in Milwaukee. And that was like my life changing event.
Yes.
Like that was a game
Yes.
changer. Um, and now we're like all mad because he's doing the same tour in Australia. And please come home. I actually got choked up the other day because I was listening to him. He sings this song called When My Heart Finds Christmas. And it's just one of my all-time favorite Christmas songs, him singing it. And when he sang it at the concert, like I grabbed Amelie's hand and I just started sobbing because I have been listening to this song for years. And we were like third row, and he was singing it to us, And I'm just like, it's not hardly Christmas without Harry Connick, without a Harry Connick
Mm,
concert. And at the same time, that memory of hearing that song sung live music. I cannot say enough about
yes.
live music. Whatever you have to do to configure your life so that you and your family are regularly exposed to live music, whether it's the free concert at the Episcopal Church, I don't care. Go find an organ concert, a strings concert, a piano, somebody playing live piano in a hotel lobby. Who cares? Go listen to live music. That's one of my most favorite memories of my whole
Agreed.
life. And I met Princess Diana. So for me to say that is a big deal. But hearing him sing that song was like, it was unbelievable. And I had the memory of it just come washing over me the other day when I was decorating for Christmas because the song started playing. And so all that to say is I listen to a lot of Harry Connick Christmas, but he has one album, his most recent Christmas album, which is only Apple. It's like an Apple exclusive. And sadly, it's worth it. It's a good album. But I just listen to a lot of Charlie Brown Christmas and Harry Connick and Ella at Christmas time. I'm kind of a
Yeah,
nerd.
Ella Fitzgerald's on my rotation.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like maybe this is our generational difference showing, but I do Michael Bublé.
Yeah.
That's my
See,
Christmas album of choice. That is
yeah.
my Christmas poison on repeat over and over and over again. I
Yeah.
love him.
I know you do. I like him, but he's no Harry
I
Connick.
love Michael Bublé.
Okay, so speaking of entertainment,
Okay.
you know how much I love the movie Christmas Vacation. It's kind of
Yes.
sick and disturbing. At the same place where we saw Harry Connick last year, Chevy Chase and his wife are coming. They're going to do a live screening of the movie and then a live Q&A with Clark W. Griswold. And I really think I
That'll
need to
be
go.
great.
My husband's like,
Sure.
absolutely not. It's like 3 hours away. Like,
no, you know what?
This is a big deal.
Is this what old people do? Because I feel like my grandpa, he was
Are
always.
you calling me old?
I'm serious. I'm calling myself old
Okay.
too. Like my grandpa used to always buy tickets. Our little high school here will put on a play every Apple Blossom Festival, and he would always buy my whole family tickets. We couldn't afford to do something like that. And he would buy, 13 tickets, and we'd all go and fill the row. And it would be, the Music Man or Hello Dolly or whatever. And you go and you think, oh, grandpa, this is going to be silly. And then you like enjoy it.
You enjoy it.
Like
because
even the
live
high school
performances
production
are
of
amazing. They're great.
live performances, there is something about it. Stuart and his brother, they play when Jeremy's in town, he'll play a blues night. So it's Monday night, a bunch of blues musicians, local brewery, and people will just get up and do a half an hour set. You never know who you're going to play with. You just, okay, there's a bassist, there's a guitarist, there's a drummer, there's a singer. And so it's always just kind of patched together. And they went and did that the other night, and I had to take the kids to jujitsu, came home, and I was like, you know what? They're going to be another hour. I'll get the kids settled and I'll just pop down there. So I did. And I popped up and I sat at the bar by myself because they were playing guitars.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Just loved it. I just sat there and had my cider and watched them play. And it was just joyful. It is. It's live performances. It could be poetry reciting. It could be a play. It could be music. And our community has a lot of those things. And haven't really participated in them as well as we should have. And now that the kids are a little bit older, they can participate in it. And I guess my spirit's getting a little older because it's like, I think I want to go see a play.
Okay, Henry Fonda. Okay. That's funny. It sounds silly, but I do think that's maybe it's like we take our like the younger kids stay home and we go out with the older kids. So because we're in a vacation community, we have so much live music here. I mean, you can actually, depending on where you stand, you'll hear it coming from like my friend's backyard. You can hear 3 different venues coming into her backyard. But I love it. I mean, we'll go, it'll be like 8:30 at night. Hey, you want to go into town? Cherry Towns are playing. Yeah. Okay, let's go. And there is something about it that we've just, I don't know, lost because we live in this amazing time where we can push play. And for the millennia, that wasn't an option. If you wanted to hear a story told, somebody had to memorize it and tell it around a campfire, or actually learn to play the violin and
I was just going to say somebody better have a fiddle.
Somebody better have a fiddle. That's the only way
you're having music.
And so it's actually really, really a beautiful, like, we need to remember how decadent it is that we can just turn on Spotify and play music. That's unbelievable. But
it can also take away, don't you think?
As beautiful that is, it's kind of desensitize us to how special it is to have somebody play or sing for you. That's amazing. So
especially because we're getting the best of the best. You're listening to the best people in the world doing these things. I mean, so you really are like, you're being just blasted with diamonds all the time.
Yeah.
So I think it does really desensitize you
to just what's really involved in like just a raw performance that a raw voice sounds different than a studio voice. That sounds different than what's the vocal thing they do, and
I might have told you this, but go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, I just even love it when I'm listening to a jazz recording and you can tell they're all playing together. Like,
Yes.
obviously, because there's
Yeah.
there's solos and stuff, and you're like, okay, this isn't like a pop band where each person goes into the studio one at a time and cuts their track. I mean, there's just something about seeing somebody. When we went to this jazz club in Paris and just like watching it, we like wormed our way to the front, and it's like this little tiny room, like the size of my living room, and I was watching like the eye contact, like what was going on. And I kept looking behind me and I said to the girls, I'm like, I think they're going to invite somebody on stage. Something's going on. Like I can see them kind of like nodding that somebody just walked in the room or whatever. And sure enough, like they're leaning over, whispering. And this guy like legit pulls a trumpet out of his coat, gets up on stage, and they just killed it
Melt
at 2 in the
faces.
morning. Oh my gosh. It was amazing. But like, so when you are there for live music, like you're a part of that. Like your facial expression
Mhm.
and your applause and maybe how close you are in proximity to the stage or whatever, like you're a participant, not just
Yeah.
a consumer,
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Mhm.
My children had their piano recital recently. All of our kids take piano. And we originally did it because our church sings from hymnals, psalters. So you have to be able to read music. You need to be able to read your part if you're going to participate well. So I wanted them to read music. It's like learning a language. Just here's your notes, here's your treble clef, here's your bass clef, here's what these little symbols mean.
Right.
Anyway, so we went to their piano recital, and Georgia now has been playing for, oh my gosh, I don't know, 7 years maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And she's one of the more advanced students, because you'll notice at these recitals, there'll be 40 kids in their first year. And then by the time it gets to upper
The
school, I
herd
mean,
thins.
there's two.
Yeah.
There's two
Yeah.
left, you know?
Yeah.
And I told her, like, it was really fun to get to see her play and get to see her develop in that way. And I just said, you are this close to just getting over that mountain of being able to play whatever you want
Yeah.
and being able to teach yourself whatever music you want. And once you cross that bridge, it's just fun. Like you've done the work. And it made me realize, how often do we start things and it's work, 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 work. But it's so much work that we quit before we get to the point where we get to enjoy what all that work led to.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense?
Oh yeah.
Because it does reach a point, not that you ever stop necessarily laboring at it. Anytime
Mhm.
she wants to learn a new piece of music, she has to sit down and put in the work of learning it. But like
Yeah.
the foundation, the muscle memory, the lingo, like
But you get to
that's
the
in
point
her now.
where it's like, yeah, where it is, it's snowballed. I mean, Amelie is like a classically trained concert pianist beyond her years. And we went to see Elvis when the Elvis movie came out, and it sort of opened her eyes to gospel. And she went down the rabbit trail of all these kind of very, very sub characters in the movie and discovered them. And that was the year then at the end of that year where I said, well, Harry Connick's my favorite person in the world. Want to go to this concert with me? And like it's just snowballed. She's in advanced music theory at the local high school. She plays, she got accepted to like a really prestigious jazz camp last summer. So she plays piano, marimba, xylophone, drums,
Bass,
guitar,
right?
bass,
Yeah.
upright bass, and just bought herself a clarinet. Just came in the mail today. So she's 15 and she plays 8 instruments. I mean, she's already getting a sound out of the clarinet. She's had it 20 minutes and she can get sound out.
Yeah.
So that's 8 instruments at 15 because she practices for hours a day. And then so she's
Well,
put
and
the
she
work
also
in.
just learned how to read music. So it's
Oh
just
yeah,
the
she can read. Yeah.
application.
So it's like just snowballed. Now the ball is just
Right.
going downhill and just gaining speed
Right.
the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the exciting bit. And our kids also do jujitsu, all of them. And I just told them, like, look, I don't expect you. They all love it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect them to love it forever.
Right.
But I was like, you're going to get to the point of competency, because you're going to be these little great homeschool kids who have read Dante, who play the piano, who are purple belts. Okay. You know what that makes you? A well-rounded person.
It makes you
Like,
interesting.
that makes you sturdy. That makes you
Yeah.
interesting. And you
Yeah.
know what? By God's grace, I'm going to be able to take you to Italy a time or two. And so you're going to realize that you're actually really, really small. And your little culture is actually really, really small. And there's actually a lot of cool people out there, and cool music, and cool food, and cool landscapes. And like, your world is not this big. You're going to be sturdy, and you're going to, be grateful for where you are and what culture you have and what religion you have and what family you have. But you're going to realize that you are a teeny tiny little cog in a much larger wheel of the world. And you're going to be like a well-rounded, Lord willing, citizen of that world.
Love it.
And yeah, hopefully you'll be interesting.
Interesting to boot.
Speaking of being
Italy,
devoted to things,
yeah.
quite devoted to my dry farm wines, which you can try by visiting dryfarmwines.com/homemaker chic. If you're on Patreon and you see my red chest right now and my flushed face, I want you to know it's not because I'm drinking red wine right now. It's because I was wearing my alpaca sweater and it made me like very
looking
hot.
at you. I'm like, what the heck is going on her neck?
I'm excited by this conversation, and I shouldn't have worn wool. It was just too much.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of being flushed, we do trivia here in the North Woods in the winter. And last night was the first night of trivia, and our team is called 221B Baker Street. That is Sherlock Holmes's address. And we won the first round of trivia. Juliet, Mary Kay.
What does that have to do with wine?
Hold on. Juliet, Mary Kay, and I dominated. We dominated a whole wine bar full of trivia teams. What that has to do with wine is because the whole time I was like, oh, I am either enjoying this way too much or because I was so flushed. And I look around at their thermostat and it's set on like 70. And we don't live at 70 degrees here in this house. And I was just like, I look like a beet. No wonder I'm having so much fun. Right now. And it's so hot in here. My face looks like your neck. So.
Dryfarmwines.com/homemaker chic. These are your natural wines, so they're not going to cause a histamine response. They're not sprayed with anything. There's no additives. There's no sugar. There's no yeast. There's no stabilizers. There's no clarifiers. These are just natural, beautiful, pressed and fermented wines from all around the world. Dry Farms just finds these incredible organic and biodynamic farms. They bring the wine in a box to your doorstep. It's really, really simple. So they don't force these growers this way or that way. These are just small little growers, little boutique growers that they found who are doing exactly what they want. So they really do the legwork for you. They quality test every single batch. They do such an exceptional job. And this is the time. You have time now to get your order in before Christmas, which I would strongly encourage you to do, even if it's just 3 bottles of bubbly. Give them a try. So you can do 3 bottles or 6 or 9 or 12. You could do reds or whites or bubblies or rosés, or they also have orange wine on occasion, really wonderful orange wines. So you get to kind of customize it, pick out what you like, have it shipped to your doorstep. And if you use our link, that /homemaker chic, they'll give you an extra bottle in your order for just a penny.
Yes. And you don't even have to think about the wonky /. Just go to Instagram and click wine on the red button.
Oh, there you go. Can I tell you something?
Yes.
I would like you to know that I have kind of busted out of my Seinfeld funk, which I have been in for quite a few years now, just rewatching Seinfeld episodes.
Okay.
And I am watching a new show called Elementary. Sherlock Holmes, a new take on Sherlock Holmes. So Sherlock gets into a little drug trouble in the UK. So he comes to New York to start afresh and go to rehab. Wait, we all know Sherlock has a cocaine problem.
Well, yeah.
Lucy Liu plays Watson. which
Yeah,
originally
wow.
I was like, get out of here. It's actually really good. I call these gentle murder mysteries.
Okay.
Okay. The BBC does them really well where it's like, it's not too harsh. Think like Father Brown,
Mm-hmm.
okay, Rosemary and Thyme. They're like gentle murders. Like there's usually no blood involved. Do you know what I mean? No, you don't actually see anything. It's all just like there's like a puff of smoke, and then all of a sudden someone's oh, they've collapsed on the floor. Anyway, it's really I've been really thoroughly enjoying it. It's on Hulu. I don't know if you
Okay.
can watch it other places, but there's like 7 seasons, and it's called Elementary, and it's Sherlock Holmes and Watson. I mean, what's not to love? Who
Yeah.
doesn't love Sherlock?
I love him,
You would really like
obviously.
it.
Um,
You would like it.
Now I'm like really, really the Benedict Cumberbatch is like my favorite. So that's kind of my litmus test for all things Sherlock.
Okay.
Will I
I
still
think you
like
should
it?
just try it.
Did you watch that
I
one?
really, the guy who does, I did. Yes, of
Okay.
course I did.
The whole thing, like
Um,
all of it to the
yes.
bitter
And the
end.
guy who plays Watson in that, he was the one who was in The Hobbit, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What's his name? He was Bilbo. My
Uh,
kid Stuart's reading my kids The Hobbit right now, and they just can't even take it. Every chapter when he stops, you just hear this, no, keep going. It's so darling. What a
mm,
fun book. What is his name?
Martin Freeman.
Terrible movie, by the way. Don't watch The Hobbit. Boo.
Yeah, yeah. No, Martin Freeman.
Read the book. Read the book. Okay. Just
Yeah.
watch it. It's
Okay.
good.
Okay. I tried to watch like the
I mean,
what was the Enola Holmes? Like Netflix, somebody has like a like Sherlock's
his
daughter or
sister.
sister or something. No.
Sister.
Her apartment
It's
was cool.
that's
Like
a
her
little bit
house was
more for
cool, but
teens.
yeah, no, it was kind of
Yeah.
lame. Yeah.
Yeah. No, just try it. Just
Okay.
try it. Okay. Real fast before we keep going on entertainment. Maybe for entertainment purposes, you're going to clean your house. I like to do that.
Check your
When I was
text
painting my ceiling the
messages.
other day, what?
Check your text
Check my text
messages.
message. I put my phone on silent because what? Oh, Angela has to go to the bathroom.
I'm
Can
dying.
you hurry?
Yes.
Can you hurry? So, and I'll do the assignment. I'll do the cleaning assignment while Angela goes. We run a hard ship around here. Okay. I painted my kitchen ceiling recently. Maybe you guys saw that over on my Instagram. I told you I was going to do it. I did it. I painted it yellow, and I'm really happy I did. And Stuart was saying, what is your problem? Why do you do this? Because for him, that's not relaxing. That's a ton of work. For me, I really enjoy it. And so it's pleasurable for me to clean. It's pleasurable for me to take care of ugly things in my house and turn them into something beautiful. And that's what we're doing with our cleaning assignments. So we're going through the complete book of home organization by Tony Hammersley, who runs A Bowl Full of Lemons. So last week, we assessed our appliances and we sorted them by function. So we're still kind of working through our kitchen, working through our refrigerator. So I'm going to give you a few new assignments to take care of this week, and they're pretty small. So I'm going to give you a couple of them. The first one is to keep your favorite utensils handy. So I keep a crock of wooden spoons, spatulas, whisks, those sorts of things within arm's reach of where I prep my food the most. And I actually keep two. I keep a crock full of metal utensils, fish spatulas, whisks, and then I keep a second crock of wooden spoons because I just like the way it looks. Looks. So keep your favorite utensils handy where you will be able to access them the most. And then the next one is to stow your pots and pans. So I know pots and pans they really throw people in the kitchen for storage. I've got mine all, look at my burn, Angela. Look at this.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that
nasty.
amazing? It's like a perfect oil splash. I keep my pots and pans above my oven, all lined up so I can grab them really easily. And then underneath one oven is cast iron, and then underneath Another oven is stainless steel.
Do
How
you
do
have
you
storage under
organize
both?
yours? I do.
I just have storage under the one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have all my copper above me.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way it's configured, if like the saucepan is short enough, it's on a hook. If it's not, or if it's a casserole dish or something, it's just sitting on the shelf because it's a big shelf. And then the stock pots or whatever go on the upper shelf. So all my coppers right there. I have a very sentimental, what was like top of the line in the 70s stainless steel set that was my grandma's. It has like the little burp. So like when the steam starts to go, it makes like
Mm-hmm.
this very nostalgic sound to me. And I keep those all in another cabinet. And I have like my grandma had all these like felt things in between each one, like nice and fussy, which I love. um and then my kitchen's not configured. Like my kitchen is just rigged up for now still. So then right around the corner from my stove, there's a closet with no door, and that's where my wine rack is and my KitchenAid mixer. And that's where I stack my cast iron. So on the bottom shelves of the wine rack is my cast iron. And if it's too big, then it's propped up against the wall. And
Mm-hmm.
again, like my kids are cooking, half as much as I am. So it's just got to be where they can like grab it and do. Sadly, they use all my stuff. So it's got to be right there where they can get it. Unfortunately. And then I come
So
out the next morning and my cast iron is just floating in soapy water. I'm like,
yeah,
that's great.
see, that's the
I
thing.
just
Like
can't.
at this point in my career,
Yeah.
again, running basically a cooking school from my little hobo kitchen, I've invested in some really nice pieces from vintage copper to my stainless steel pans. I'm pretty invested in that shiz staying cared for. Like,
Well, that's just
can't
it.
afford to get it all.
I'm like, I feel like I almost have them trained, right? I'm like, okay, look, I'm not seasoning this pan again. The whole point is like, don't make me start all over with steel wool and a
Yeah.
hot oven,
Yeah.
But I did come out to like, but in all, like, it's not the end of the world. The one they did soak was just this mangy Walmart cast iron that's like actually like
Yeah.
convex in the middle. It's like not very well made at all. But at Delaron or Delaron or whatever it's called in Paris, I did buy new knives and I love them. I love them so much because I have a huge vintage knife collection. Juju keeps them sharp for me. I oil the handles, blah, blah, blah. Love them. But I've never had like new knives ever, aside from like some crappy set from Costco or whatever. These people cannot. I'm like, look, you keep like a towel on the counter. If you're gonna slice an onion or something with my knife, you wipe it off because they're carbon steel.
Yeah.
You cannot just let it sit there with moisture on it. There has been a lot of screaming in the last 6 weeks since I got back from Paris, trying to explain to these people either don't use my new knives or wipe them off. This is why there's a
Treat
towel
them
right
nicely.
here.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot have moisture. If there's any bit of
Well, and
moisture, you look at them wrong and they rust. If you don't know what I'm talking about, carbon
yeah.
steel, it has a beautiful patina. They're supposed to look kind of mottled and gorgeous, but you can't leave them wet or else they rust.
Yeah. When we did our Food Network pilot, they took all my knives and gave me all these weird ones. I was like, I can't use these knives. I don't know them.
Yeah,
Your knives
they
are
become
like
really intimate, like the way they feel and like
and
the
you have
dexterity.
very specific ones for very specific things, and they're like, well, these ones look gross. And I'm like, no, they don't.
They don't look gross. They look like
loved.
a European kitchen. They look loved. Yeah.
Yeah. Different aesthetics. But
yeah. It was funny in Paris when I bought them, like they switched to English. They're like, this is carbon steel, right? I'm like, I know it's carbon steel. Thank you. I know they're high maintenance. I love them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how that can be a deterrent for some people, and for others, it's exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's exactly what they were worried that I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, no, I got this. They're so beautiful. Yeah.
That's really fun. Well, Tony suggests evaluating all of your pots and pans. So pulling it all out, including woks, roasting pans, stock pots, frying pans. Really think about each item and decide how often you use it. if it's pretty, but you never use it, put it in the donate pile. I'm not sure I agree with that, Tony. I have some look pots, a few of them. Okay.
You've seen Tony's house. She's more pragmatic and practical
she's
than
more
you
pragmatic.
and I are. Yeah.
If it's burnt, deeply scratched, especially, don't use nonstick. Just get rid of them, you guys.
Oh my gosh, you guys, like 20 years ago.
I'm going to put a link below the show to Maiden's stainless steel pans. You don't want to, you know what? I've actually thought about doing a video on this, and I'm not sure I'm ready to come out yet. I'm not sure I'm ready to come out of the closet. I'm actually preferring my stainless steel a lot more than my cast iron. And I'll tell you why. Because apparently I'm old and my elbow hurts. And so when I have to lift my super heavy cast iron skillets.
Oh, it hurts your tennis elbow.
Listen, everything I do in a 18-inch cast iron because it's a family of 6. Okay. Yeah. I'm not using the cute little one. I'm doing 12 eggs at a time.
Yeah.
And it's so heavy that I find myself going for my stainless steel. And Maiden's, like with Barkeeper's Friend, it polishes up so beautifully. If you let it heat up over your flame, let it heat up before you add your oil. It is completely nonstick. Yeah. No issues.
People don't quite understand the whole,
they don't know how to use
stainless steel. To heat.
They don't know how to use it.
Yeah, they don't know.
But I know it's like this whole homesteady thing. Like, oh, we love our cast iron. We love our cast iron. We love our cast iron. I'm like, I also love my stainless steel. You heard it.
Yeah, I love my cast iron. I love my
stainless.
But I'm to the point now where I have to like get a pot holder. I have to do 2.
That's what I'm saying. I have to use 2 hands now.
It hurts my tennis elbow
exactly.
so bad. Yeah.
I went to the chiropractor yesterday and he was like, what are you doing to your forearm?
Milking
He's like,
cow
this is
and then carrying the bucket up to the house
I have ever felt. Yeah. I was like, I don't know, chopping, typing, writing, milking, chopping some more, scrubbing dishes. Like which task would you like?
Yeah.
So they're just so much lighter.
That like thing like where they zap it like that.
Yeah, and it made me cry. Like it just was shooting neurons. But
that's too high. Then they need to lower it.
But no, just adjustments. He adjusted my elbow and adjusted my wrist, and it was like,
no, mine. He puts these like pads on it.
Oh like, no, not
it
that.
Makes your it makes your it fixes it. It's amazing.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
because I had some nasty tennis. You know how I got tennis elbow? I got it 6 years ago before we moved here from the packing gun. The tape gun, neat, and my arm's never been the same. Yeah.
Mine was from making sausage when we butchered those 3 pigs in one day, and my shoulder and my elbow have never been the same ever since that day. And it's something I have to manage now. And like, I'm just every time. I'm not kidding you guys. Every time I bring out my stainless steel pan, there are things I do not take for granted. I don't think I have ever gotten into my bed at night without saying, thank you, Jesus, for this bed. Thank you for a safe, warm place to be.
Yeah.
And I genuinely, every single shower, I'm like, I can't believe I get to take a warm shower. This is amazing. Like there are certain things that just stick in my mind like that. And this might sound so silly, but I feel so grateful for my pants. They make me so happy.
You know what's really sad is before I had a clue about cooking or anything, I don't know, 15 years ago, 12 years ago, like before I really started on like my journey, you know what I mean? Like how to hold a knife or anything, just anything. Like I could cook, but like whatever. I had 2 beautiful stainless steel pans from Williams Sonoma and I murdered them. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to clean them. I didn't know how to heat them before, like you said, heat before the oil. And I got rid of them. I was so mad that when I discovered cast iron, I was like, well, getting rid of these. And it's so sad because they were like really good pans.
I have shame over a few of the things that I
have some
because
shame.
Of my ignorance have ruined.
Yeah, I have some serious shame.
Know. I was like, hey, remember that thing? You didn't do a good job of taking care of that thing.
Or just even technique. When I look back, I'm like, sometimes I love my cookbook. I think it's beautiful. I look back, I'm like, wow, you were just like a little noob, weren't you? Bless your heart. Like it worked, but bless your heart.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, there you go, ladies. There's a little bit of incentive for you to go and assess your pots and pans. And I would add to Tony's thing too, if you have a place where you can store some of your ones, like I have a huge stock pot. I mean, you could fit a child in that thing.
Like a
I don't need it
tamale
every
pot.
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like put it
Yeah.
away, bring it out when you need it. Like
Mhm.
don't have it in your kitchen. So I think if I don't touch it during the week, it doesn't belong in my kitchen. It
Mm.
needs to go somewhere else. If I'm using it twice a month, every 6 weeks, seasonally,
Yeah.
it needs to live somewhere else. So a
It's
tub
like
in
a
your
cocktail dress.
garage.
It doesn't need to hang in the main lineup.
Exactly.
Yeah. I have a
Exactly.
question for
Tuck it
you.
away, bring it out.
You know what I would
Okay.
love to have? I don't know where I'd put it logistically now that I have my baker's rack. Uh, you did you do Downton Abbey or no, Shay?
Part when Sybil
Oh,
died, I was like, you know what? I'm done with this crap. I'm too emotionally invested. It broke my soul.
okay. That's
She
like crapping out
died.
on like episode 3. Okay. Anyways,
Well, I don't care.
Mrs.
It's very
Patmore has
sad.
like one of those towers that she puts all her cast iron stock pots on. Like, I want one of those towers. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
What are they
I do know
called?
what you're
And I
talking
want
about.
one. And I don't want some
I
chintzy
don't
one. I
know. I've
want one that could kill a
That's the
person if it
problem.
fell on them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I looked into them and it was like, oh, the ones that will kill a person, those are like $400, and it was gonna
Yeah.
hold like 3 things. And I'm like, well, I've got like
Oh,
12 things. I
no.
have
Hers
six
is
Dutch
like,
ovens in my
hers is
kitchen.
like, yeah. That's what I want. Like a
Yeah,
Dutch oven pyramid obelisk.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can find them online, but
In
I
England.
think the most I've ever seen one hold is 6. I
Mm,
don't know. I couldn't justify the space.
mm,
Maybe that was wrong. Maybe someone can steer me in the right direction because I mean the cast iron Dutch ovens are heavy.
yeah.
They're heavy,
Yeah.
So yeah, again, 2 hands, tennis elbow,
Right.
old lady
Right.
joints here. So
Right.
something to think about
Hmm.
because yeah. Anyway, I could talk kitchenware. I
Right.
really get a little passionate.
When I brought my knives, like okay, so I was so happy. I went over to the store one day, last time we were there, and I just didn't check Google and they were closed. And I was devastated. And it's just like green and yellow and the coppers in the window. And you're like, Julia, child, this was where she shopped. You're just nerding out. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like on a side of town that's like near nothing that I would go to. Right. And so then I had to go back the next day and it was cold and freezing rain. And I got my guests all situated at the Eiffel Tower, did their thing, did their champagne. I'm like, okay, now we're going to all go our separate ways. I am going to the cooking store. like, and so it's like, I got an Uber because it's just across town. It was just terrible. And they still weren't open. They didn't open till 1. So I had lunch at this cafe by myself, waited. I'm picking up my knives. They're like, this is carbon steel. Yeah, it's carbon steel. They like wrap each one in tissue. They put a cork on the end of it and they wrap it in this yellow
Oh,
tape. And
charming.
what's today? When you watch my
December.
Christmas tour
Okay.
video, at the very end, I tour my kitchen and I saved the tape like ribbon and I have a kitchen tree with copper and forks and knives and garlic heads and stuff in it. And so I saved like the little ribbon from the store and put it
Oh, sweet.
in my tree.
That's sweet.
Um, but the family was pretty giddy about these knives because we had this mangy old bread knife. And when we got back from Paris and I made my first loaf of bread, I like cut into it and I'm like, like, I'm like, everybody
Is
get
this
in
how
line.
the other half
This is how
lives?
so seriously, the whole family got in line and like everybody cut a slice of bread with this knife. They're like, this is
Yep.
amazing. It actually cuts. Like,
Yep.
yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so great.
Knives, yeah, such a difference. So that's what we're going to be doing for entertainment.
Playing
Polishing
with our
our
knives
copper and
and our
playing with our
carbon
sharp
steel
knives
knives.
and listening to live music and attending plays. I think we're officially 70
Nerds. 70. Yeah.
listening to
Wouldn't
history podcasts.
wouldn't that be funny if we got those guys on the show? What could we talk about?
Oh, it would be a hoot. I would talk to them about the history of homemaking.
homemaking.
I would.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll message them on Instagram. See if I can get their attention. Hello.
I can't imagine I actually can't decide if it's just a lifetime's worth of knowledge in their cranium or if they do a ton of research, because the way
I think they do a ton of research.
But if you listen to that fashion one where they're just like making references, one says this and then the other one references that, either they have like amazing retention during that research, or I mean, it's just like rolling out. It's incredible.
I know.
Yeah.
Such fun, good stuff over there.
Really good.
All right. Well, we might not have covered all our bases, but hopefully that at least gives you.
I wanted to talk about
Go listen to
entertainment.
Pink
I think we
Martini.
killed it. Yeah. Napoleon.
Listen
Pink
to the Rest is
Martini,
History podcast.
Rest is History.
Read Monte Cristo with me, the Count of Monte Cristo.
Dante, River God, and the Seventh Scroll. Yeah.
And organize your pots and pans.
Makes total sense.
Makes total sense. We're doing it for the people, but you're the people too, you know?
Well, that's what I said.
Again,
when we
all
picked
those
this
things
subject,
make you a well-rounded person.
It has to also be about us as the homemaker. We can't just, I don't want people to feel like we're like the martyr show. Like, let's just serve. Serving is beautiful, but when you invest in yourself, it does give you some fuel to go invest in other people. So
totally. Yeah. It's good stuff. All right, ladies, we're going to be back here next week with the season finale.
Boom.
Before we take 2 weeks off for the holidays. So make sure you tune in. And a huge thank you. A lot of you have been sharing Homemaker Chic podcast with your sister, your mom, friends who you think will like the show. That means a lot to us. And we said this last week, but it bears repeating. Your support of our advertisers means the world to them, and it means the world to us. It's what keeps Homemaker Chic on the air. So if you need some last minute sheets, if you need a new rug, if you need some Toops makeup or whatever it is,
lip balm
shopping.
From Toops. Yeah. Some new washcloths, stocking from stuffers. American Blossom before your guests come. Come on. Yeah.
Yes. Go have fun. And we'll see you back here next Monday.
You know what I think they should do? Why don't you message us over on Instagram if you have a question or something you want us to close out our season finale with. We'll make it a listener supported episode. So you tell us what you want us to talk about and we'll do it. Send us a direct message over on Instagram at Homemaker Chic Podcast.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Ladies, we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Right. Cheers.